Pete Buttigieg is officially the candidate that I dislike the most. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit too nice. Pete Buttigieg is a clown, he's a fraud, he's a scumbag, or as the Roots' Michael Harriot puts it, Pete Buttigieg is lying MF. This guy is so fake, so coached, so scripted, but yet light on substance and completely hollow. There's been several interesting developments regarding him and his campaign that I want to go over. Now, firstly, audio from 2011 surfaced several days ago that showed Pete Buttigieg talking about poor and minority kids and why they're not achieving success. So I'm going to play the clip for you and take a listen.
The greatest part of the population right now are people my age, and a lot of people my age don't have anything to do. And if they would just go and mentor,
there'd be another inclusion of this whole thing.
And you
well,
got
especially
these
because the kids need to see evidence that education is going to work for them, right? So you see a lot of parts of
that's
town
part of the
where,
motivation.
Yeah, because you're motivated because you believe that at the end of your educational process there's a reward, there's a stable life, there's a job, and there are a lot of kids, especially the lower income minority neighborhoods, who literally just haven't seen it work. There isn't somebody they know personally,
and I think that's
who
why
testifies to the value of education.
They
So
need
yeah,
to meet that person.
You bet.
They need to get that push from somebody other than if a family member isn't enthused about their educational history and lets them just throw their bag in the corner, like you said earlier, then things aren't going to happen.
Now, this is deeply troubling. Pete Buttigieg is propagating the old but persistent idea of cultural poverty and underclass mythology. Pete's saying that poor minority kids are not motivated because they do not see the value of education. They don't know someone personally, they don't have a role model or parent that is enthused about education or serves as a testament of the value of education. These ideas rest on the assumption that poor people remain poor and unsuccessful because they have values and morals that perpetuate their inability to escape their circumstances. They're perceived to be lazy, selfish, intellectually inferior, full of crack babies, have absent fathers, and raised by single moms or welfare queens. Pete Buttigieg's suggestion that low-income minority folks are not successful because they do not have supportive parents or role models is just another shade of this underclass mythology that paints poor people as culturally defective. This belief completely ignores, obscures, or rationalizes our broken economic system and the gross inequality that has developed. It simplifies a very complex issue into an explanation that places the blame and responsibility for change onto the victim. In Pete Buttigieg's case, even a simple analysis of environmental factors like transportation, job and wage growth, education, housing opportunities, debt, and wealth are not included. It is a highly moralistic statement that completely ignores the need to challenge power, institutional forces, and inequality while chastising the poor for their own failure. Moreover, it justifies the lack of redistributive policies and a weak social safety net, since it labels poor individuals as undeserving of society's help. Now, just recently, a senior writer from The Root named Michael Harriot lambasted Pete Buttigieg in an article titled, "Pete is a Lying MF." I've linked the article in the podcast description if you're interested in reading. It was an absolute scathing piece on Pete's 2011 comments. It just went absolutely viral on the internet, and it became a trending topic on Twitter. It was so widespread that the author even got a direct call from Pete Buttigieg himself to talk about, what was written. Buttigieg also has a very big problem with his lack of black voter support. In a recent Quinnipiac poll, Pete Buttigieg polled at 0% with black voters. 0%! How the hell do you poll at 0% for a particular group? Seems absolutely crazy, but I'm going to tell you a story that would probably explain why. Now, in July, Pete Buttigieg released his Douglas Plan. It's a comprehensive plan that seeks to invest and help the black community through criminal justice reform, healthcare reform, and economic reform. The backlash to the plan's presentation happened immediately. The press release regarding the plan listed 3 prominent Black Americans as supporters of the plan. The problem was, one of those 3 prominent Black Americans said that her support was misconstrued as an endorsement of Pete Buttigieg. The second person listed was a Bernie Sanders co-chair in that state. And the third person never gave her support to the plan. Not only that, the email about the plan was completely mishandled. It asked individuals to opt out of the list of supporters meant to represent over 400 Black South Carolinians. Research shown by The Intercept revealed that half of the people on the list were white, and there were repeated names with some individuals not even living in the United States. More strangely, it asked people to opt out of an endorsement of the plan. So if you didn't reply by 4 p.m., you would by default be a supporter and be included in that list. It's endorsement by opt-out. Pete Buttigieg is so desperate to market his plan that he has to manufacture support for his Douglas plan by doing this shameful act in order to get supporters. One of the people featured in the press release was a friggin' Bernie Sanders co-chair. Talk about a major gaffe. Also, imagine being included in a list of supporters if you forgot to opt out of a friggin' email. Now, lastly, here's a kicker. The campaign used a stock photo from Kenya to promote its plan. Again, the campaign used a stock photo from Kenya to promote the Douglas plan. This is a presidential campaign, and are using a friggin' stock photo for a major policy plan? Come on, dude. You have all this campaign cash, and you couldn't care to do an actual legit photo op? This is ridiculous. Now, in addition to all of this, there is controversy regarding the circumstances surrounding Pete Buttigieg's firing of South Bend's first Black police chief. So a TYT Investigates report suggests that officers pressured Pete Buttigieg's donors to have Pete fire the police chief. And I'll link you the article from The Intercept that contains a link to the TYT report. It's going to contextualize everything. It's a great read. Another thing that pisses me off about Pete Buttigieg is his dishonest lying and framing of Medicare for All. He utilizes the same right-wing framing the media uses in order to gaslight the American public on it. Pete implies that millions of people will be thrown off their existing healthcare coverage and will be forced onto Medicare for All. He frames it like the government is forcibly taking something that you cherish and dictating how you live your life. Then he gaslights you by telling you that you're going to be kicked off your existing plan, like you'll somehow be in the void without healthcare. This is absolutely hilarious and maddening at the same time. What Pete Buttigieg isn't telling you is how Medicare for All is cheaper, cuts out the insurance middleman. There's no premiums, co-pays, out-of-pocket costs, and covers everyone. But is he going to tell you that? No, he won't, because he's a dishonest hack, accepts all that billionaire cash, that corporate cash, and he's regurgitating the same crap about choice of healthcare coverage and freedom. Americans don't care about their healthcare plan. They care if they can see the doctor when they need to and not pay an arm and leg when they're facing a medical crisis. This is what a Medicare for All single-payer system will do. Pete's just trying to mislead you and just gaslight the heck out of you. Furthermore, he has old tweets from the past that demonstrate his support for Medicare for All. So what happened? It's that corporate cash from pharmaceutical and health insurance companies that have been flooding into his campaign. Now he's anti-single payer, and he just wants to have a public option that keeps the private health insurance companies around. Totally corrupt and opportunistic. You can see it in his face and in his behavior. During the 5th debate on MSNBC, Tulsi Gabbard called out Pete Buttigieg for wanting to send troops to Mexico and how he doesn't have the judgment to be a good commander-in-chief. You can see that polished politician look turned into an absolutely angry smirk as Tulsi wiped the floor with Pete the Clown. All Pete Buttigieg had left to say was the tired old smear of Tulsi meeting with Assad and how Assad's a dictator and yada yada yada. It's just absolutely childlike and pathetic. It's all a matter of honesty. He has a lack of support from the black community, and his actions only exacerbated. His dishonesty in promoting his Douglas plan, along with his idiotic statements on poor people's education, are reasons to doubt him. Additionally, his stance on healthcare is a huge train wreck of a lie. He's one of the biggest frauds of the election, and people shouldn't vote for him.